I remind taxpayers constantly that it's not a crime if you don't pay your taxes. You're going to get hounded by the IRS, but it's not a crime. But if you have a filing requirement for your business and you don't file, that is a crime.
This is the Snowball Effect. You're listening to the Marketing Playbook series, presented by the Snowball Effect podcast. It's growth done right.
Hey, this is Todd Jensen, and welcome to the Snowball Effect. We have a lot of companies that work with us that are in home services, they're contractors, they're installers, and they do that and they do it well. But something that they don't always understand, or maybe is a little bit intimidating, are the taxes that go into running a business. So I brought in a tax expert to walk us through some of the common questions and some of the common concerns and best practices that we want to be aware of. And my guest today is Victor Latham. How you doing, Victor?
Doing well, Todd. Thank you.
It's great to have you. Victor is from 5-Star Tax Resolution. And when I was talking to one of your colleagues, Victor, I asked him, what really makes 5-Star different? And he said one word, Victor. Victor is what sets us apart. So you come with very, very high praise, and it's great to have you on the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Before we jump into the taxes, I want to get to know you just a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I grew up in Tucson, Arizona, and when I graduated high school, then I went to Northern Arizona University. And by the time I was 19, I realized that I wanted to be a lawyer. And so finally, I went to Western State College of Law here in Southern California. And I started in practicing tax law. Been at it for 32 years.
Fantastic. Well, I can see all the certificates behind you. So you come with the credentials. And I really want to hear, Victor, what's something that you're passionate about?
Todd, something that I'm really passionate about is I played the game for 10 years, and a former coach of mine said,
No kidding.
Yeah, then I went into coaching Pop Warner football for the little kids. I did that for 7 years, and then I got a chance to coach 3 years of high school football.
So you played for 10 years?
Oh, gosh. I started in 5th grade playing tackle football and just went 4 years of high school, a couple of years in college.
Oh, good on you. You've lived the dream. So let me ask you, Victor, who's your football team now? Are you big into college football, pro football, and who are you rooting for these days?
I'm big into pro football, and I'm a Denver Broncos fan.
Bo Nix. You've got Bo Nix over there as your new quarterback. What do you think about him?
Oh, I think he's coming along. He's just a rookie. He's got to develop. But I chose them because Mike Shanahan used to be a coach at Northern Arizona University. So I always would think about him and what he did.
Well, we could talk football all day, Victor,
Oh, yeah.
But I want to get in there and pick your brain and talk about business taxes. Now, I've heard you introduce something that really intrigued me. I believe you had 5 key insights that home service companies or entrepreneurs just may not be aware of, and they may have blind spots about. And I would love for you to touch on each of those 5. So are you game if we walk through those?
Sure.
So what's the first thing that you see that a lot of businesses just get wrong?
The first thing that can really be a catastrophe is not filing tax returns and not filing them on time. I remind taxpayers constantly that it's not a crime if you don't pay your taxes. You're going to get hounded by the IRS, but it's not a crime. But if you have a filing requirement for your business and you don't file, that is a crime. And the quickest way that we can have is I suggest that the taxpayers go to a tax pro like a tax attorney, a CPA, and file them. And the tax pro will know how far back you need to go to file if you've been a non-filer for a long time. Although it is a crime, the tax pro will contact the IRS and let them know that you are filing, that I'm filing your taxes for your business, and that they will all be in within the next 30 days. So they don't send people out knocking on your door to arrest you. They think proactive steps, they're taking care of business.
How common is that, Victor, for a contractor or an entrepreneur to just not file? Is that something you run into all the time?
Unfortunately, Todd, it is. People get busy in just doing their job and running their business. And a lot of times when they walk in my door, they say, I'm not a tax person. I thought I could take care of it in April. But then it can just be too much, too overwhelming.
So entrepreneurs out there, business people out there, remember, you've got to talk to a tax expert and get those filings in. So walk me through the second one of your key insights that people need to look out for.
It's ignoring tax debt.
So you're saying people that have some legacy tax debt that's hanging over their head and they just keep pushing it off. Is that what you mean?
Yes, because penalties and interest, they're going to be compounding daily on this debt. And people don't realize it. Like I had a person who ran a construction firm walk into my office and he said, gosh, we owed $30,000 5 years ago for this employment tax. And I got a notice the other day. And I said, and it told you owed 60,000. And he goes, how did you know? I said, that's because that's the way employment tax grows. And if you wait another 5 years to take care of it, that 60 will become 120. So I encourage people to, as soon as you can, don't procrastinate, get in and pay your tax bill. Nobody likes paying taxes, but you got to do it.
What's the next thing that you see a lot of, Victor?
The idea that not paying taxes is an option. There was a famous rapper who was working at a bunch of places and he asked to be paid in cash. He thought, I've outsmarted the IRS. I'll be paid in cash. They won't see it. He made two really bad mistakes. He ended up with so much cash in his house that he went down and took it and put it in a bank. He just deposited more than $10,000 in a bank, and they sent a ticket from the bank to the IRS recording that cash. On social media, while he was not filing taxes or paying taxes, he was talking about how much money he was making on some. And the investigative division of the IRS looked into him, and then he had to take care of 5 years worth of tax bills.
So even though he was getting paid in cash, he's not declaring anything. Just the fact that the bank, because he's depositing large amounts, the bank then raises up the red flag, and stuff that he's posting on social media actually gets investigated. That is interesting. I had no idea that the IRS would investigate at that level and then put pieces together and find out that he's been avoiding taxes. That's really interesting.
When they were put on alert by the bank telling them how much money was being deposited, that's when they looked at the social media.
Gotcha.
They said, we need to look into this person.
So once they caught wind that there was something going on, then they investigate further. Wow. I never would have guessed that. I guess in my mind, because I get asked all the time from contractors or people that are remodeling, hey, we'll give you a discount if you pay us in cash. And I didn't know if that was for tax reasons or if that's for processing fees that they're trying to avoid. But if contractors out there, if you're getting paid in cash, just know that the IRS, they can still track you down. That's really interesting, and that's one I wasn't expecting. So what else do you see?
It's those IRS powers that might surprise you. If the IRS has sent you a bill and it says that you owe more than $50,000 and you're getting ready to take a trip out of town, say you're going to go to the Caribbean, you go to use your passport and they say your passport's been suspended, and you will have probably received a notice somewhere in there, but you said it's from the IRS and just throw it away. But they can suspend or keep you from renewing your passport. A lot of people says, oh, and then you couldn't get out. That happens a lot. But where it's the worst part is when you come back and they don't let you into the United States.
Oh, wow. Because while you've been out there, they've put a freeze on your passport and then you can't come back in. I had no idea the IRS could do something that severe about a tax penalty. How often do you see something like that?
We see it a lot.
Wow.
Because business owners, it's generally employment tax. It gets high dollars really quickly. And then they'll come to me if they've noticed the notice from the IRS and say, what can I do to get it back? And it's almost become one of the main things that I do is getting passports back for.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. And so how long does that take?
If it goes lightning fast, it'll take 60 days because it's not what's done on my end. I can get things set up with the IRS probably within the first week. Then the IRS has to process it and then send a letter over to the State Department saying they're okay now. This person can have their passport reinstated or renewed.
So if you're in trouble with the IRS, you could be locked in or locked out for a couple of months.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, that's really intriguing. A lot of those really surprised me, but just to kind of review, and you let me know if I'm forgetting anything here. You have the no filing taxes that you see all the time where people just don't file them for one reason or another. The other is ignoring this looming tax debt, right, from the past that they just keep pushing off. That's going to add up and really cause a problem. And then just believing that not paying your taxes is even an option, or that if I get paid in cash, the IRS isn't going to know, it isn't going to detect that. And then finally, the surprising one is the powers of the IRS. They really extend quite a bit. Their tentacles are everywhere.
Oh, you were spot on there, Todd. Those are the things that I encounter the most from small business people.
That's really good to know. Help me understand just a little bit. If somebody wants to keep this conversation going and they want to say, hey, Victor, let me explain my business and what other problems could there be and what other blind spots might I have? What's the best way for them to reach out and connect with you?
You can call us by phone directly, 800-516-5917. Check out our website at www.fivestartax.com. And on that website, you can also input for a free tax consultation by inputting your information so that we can contact you. And you can also check us out on our YouTube channel. And it's just go to YouTube, go to 5-Star Tax Resolution, and we've got a bunch of videos there.
If you were to tell somebody why they should come to you, why they should come to 5-Star versus somebody else, what really sets you apart?
What sets us apart is we've been around for 16 years. We currently have 3 locations. The original location in Pasadena, California. Second was in Las Vegas, Nevada. And our third is here in Costa Mesa in Southern California. We think our best practices here are the fact that 90% of our clients go on to not have any more tax problems after we've solved their original tax problems.
That's fantastic. Victor, it's been really nice to go through this. So if you're watching this and you have tax questions, or there's something nagging in the back of your brain, or you wake up in the dead of night because, that little voice in your head knows that you've got potential tax problems, give Victor and his team a call, visit their website, visit them on YouTube, and see if they can help you out. Victor, from us here at Snowball, I really appreciate letting us just glean so much from you. You gave us 5 things that we can apply right now, that we can take action on right now. Thank you, Victor, so much for joining the Snowball Effect podcast.
Thank you, Todd, for this opportunity.
Great. And for all those that joined, thank you for joining the podcast, and we'll see you next time.